So, hi everybody. I am here today with Laura van Amsterdam from Ultrafast Fibre. She's got a little bit of advice for our upcoming graduates, and she's going to talk a little bit about herself and her role. So, Laura, I'll hand over to you to explain who you are and what you do, and then we'll get into our questions.
Perfect, thank you. So obviously I'm Laura. I am the People and Culture Manager at Ultrafast Fibre. So I've actually been here for a year now, which is great. So just a little bit about Ultrafast Fibre. We actually used to be, I used to be a group function across WELL, which is the electricity distribution. And in November last year, we split, and so I stayed with Ultrafast Fibre. So I used to work across both companies, and now I just work here.
Cool. And you obviously enjoy it. You've been there a while now.
Yes, no, I love it. It's probably, I can hand on my heart say, one of the best companies I've ever worked for, and I've worked for a few. So I definitely am very happy with my decision.
That is so awesome. And I'm assuming with the whole pandemic going on, you guys have been working from home.
Yes, we have, although we are an essential business, so we did have some people still in the office because we were able to do that still. However, the majority of people obviously worked from home because you can't have 150 people sitting in one office, obviously. Um, so yeah, most of us are working from home.
Cool. And what skills did you pick up as a result of having to work remotely?
Well, it actually it wasn't as difficult as I thought. I thought I would be the type of person who would never work from home, because I always felt like my role required people and being with people and having people come to me. But I think having everyone worked from home kind of jump started that actually this is possible if everyone has works the same way and everyone's working from home. So it wasn't as challenging for me as I thought it would be. However, there is a bit of a barrier in collaboration sometimes because it is hard to kind of write on a whiteboard and talk about things as much as you could if you were in the office.
Yeah. Do you have areas of a normal workday that were challenging during the lockdown?
Um, I would probably say no. There isn't any kind of general workday stuff, although we have a professional coffee machine here, and so that was quite hard not to be able to make my flat white every morning. That was probably the biggest barrier to my day.
I'm sure a lot of people relate to that.
Yeah.
In terms of our graduates, obviously there's a bit of stress at the moment. The
Yeah.
job market is quite tough. Have you got anything you'd suggest on just how they could navigate the crisis and how they can get hired?
Yeah. So that it's such a hard time for everyone at the moment, and there are definitely some industries who are still hiring, such as ours. So I think that the key is to find those industries that are still hiring, still working, still expanding. And I would say be prepared to start from the bottom and don't follow that traditional, finding a graduate role or a role that you would have really liked to have started on. One of the key things, especially in our business, is that we do hire internally quite often. So, for example, on our service desk, who are the people who are answering the phones and that first point of contact, I have people in there that have, business degrees and IT degrees, and they spend a couple of years in there learning our systems, and then they get promoted within the business, and then they go into the IT team or the assets team, and then they get to start using that degree that they work so hard for. So I definitely say that I know it is hard to to start from the bottom and do something that you didn't study, but it actually is going to help in the long run. So be prepared to find a company that is willing to grow still, and a company that still aligns with your values and your personality, and then just work your way up from the bottom.
Yeah, that's really great advice. And they get that work experience as well, which a lot of
Exactly.
graduates really crave. So, yeah, that's a really good tip. Is there any additional avenues you'd recommend graduates to take to get noticed?
Oh, that's a difficult one. I would say that LinkedIn is probably a really good one that sometimes people forget that if you kept your LinkedIn profile up to date, that people actually can seek you on LinkedIn. So recruiters can search for you for the keywords that are in your profile that they're looking for. So make sure you keep it up to date. Make sure it says everything you want it to about you. Look at it like it was a CV, because people can actually find you on there. So you can do that above and beyond applying for jobs.
Awesome. And are there any skills and attributes or any characteristics that would make potential candidates stand out? And, like
Yeah.
talk LinkedIn, what should they say?
Yeah, so obviously some experience is great, and it's always horrible that you have to get experience to get experience. But it's always good to have something as a base, because a recruiter needs to, or would prefer to have, a work referee, right? They want to call someone that's worked with you to ask about your work experience. So customer service roles are really great, because every role really has some kind of customer service involved, whether it's an internal customer or an external. So my role is pretty much customer service, but my customers are within the business. So having something with customers is really key. So if you've worked at Hell's Pizza, which is where I started, that's really great, because you've got some kind of experience, and so that you can show, and people can call up your referee and say, yeah, they were really great with customers, and they went above and beyond.
Fantastic. Do you have some tips about interviewing? Like, what would you say your top 3 tips to a graduate about interviews would be?
Yeah, so normally I would say make sure you shake their hand.
Well, I don't know if we can do that anymore.
But I probably wouldn't recommend that anymore. However, you can still make a joke about that. So you can be like, should I shake hands? Should we not shake hands? Because one of the things that I think is key, and some of the best interviews that I've had with people have been having a bit of their personality in the interview. So a little bit of a joke, a little bit of fun, showing what kind of person you are is really important, because often I'll be interviewing 4 or 5 people and they have the same skills. They're working in the same roles. Sometimes they're people who've even worked in the same company. So you're actually comparing them by skills is quite hard. But what you can compare by is culture and fit in the team. So you really want to show that personality and show what kind of person you are, so they can say, I really want to work with that guy or that girl. They're great. They're the kind of person that I would want to hang out with at work and work with every day.
Cool. Going back to your company, I mean, obviously you've got a lot of employees and you help manage a lot of them, I'm sure, through your role. Are there any ways that your workplace is changing or is going to operate differently post-pandemic?
Operate differently. Yes, I would say that the remote working is going to be a really big thing for us going forward. Well, it is definitely going to be a big thing going forward. We just announced a new policy recently, and it's really allowing people to have kind of full flexibility. So it's, you want to work in the office 2 days, you want to work at home 3, maybe you actually really love the office and you want to do it 4 or 5 days, but that's kind of up to you. So we're offering people a subsidy now, $200 to purchase any equipment that they may need to work from home, whether it's a screen or a laptop or a chair or something. And that's really for us to show that we understand and we listened, and everyone seems to really enjoy being able to work from home. So we're going to keep that going forward.
So cool.
Yeah, it's really awesome, actually.
Really appreciative of that.
Yeah.
Because it's really nice to be able to be flexible.
Yeah, and we did a lot of surveys during lockdown, asking people, obviously how they were going, but also we asked them, is this the kind of thing that you want to keep? What would your new normal look like if you could have anything that you wanted? And people really wanted to keep working from home. So I think if you've got so many people saying that, then you've kind of got to do something about it.
Yeah, that's so awesome. In terms of like internal versus external relationships and networking, how have you managed these during COVID?
Um, It's been okay, and I think it's because we were all in the same boat. So everyone was having to do Zoom meetings or Teams meetings, phone calls. Everyone was having to do it across the country, not just our company. So I think in the beginning, everyone was trying really hard. Like, I don't know about you, but I was in a lot of meetings, a lot of Teams meetings, a lot of Zoom calls. And it has slowly started to decrease now that people are kind of gotten used to it. But everyone was really trying to over communicate to make sure that those relationships were still being fostered during that time. But I think everyone kind of realized that you don't need to do that so much, and that you only need to communicate how you would have before, just not face to face anymore. So it hasn't been too bad actually, because everyone was in the same boat. So we were all trying to keep up those relationships with whoever it was that we would normally have those with.
Yeah, and that would work both ways as well, wouldn't it? Like the people
Yeah.
would reach out to you as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome. Well, that's my list of questions. Is there any last thing that you want to tell everyone, or any advice that you've got for our graduates?
Well, I think probably my biggest thing would be, this is a hard time for everyone, but I don't want you to feel like despondent. I don't want you to feel like it's not possible to get into the workforce now, because it is always going to be roles out there. You just have to change your mindset. So you just have to start thinking differently. Not necessarily following the traditional path that unfortunately some people like us, me, would have been able to follow, going into a graduate role and being able to work my way like that. So it doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad kind of different. It might actually be a good kind of different, because you get a better base of experience when you get to be the person at the bottom and learn how a company's run all the way up. So yeah, definitely still have a positive attitude about being able to find something.
Awesome. Well, that's everything from us. Thank you so much for your time today, Laura.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I hope we cross paths in the real world sometime.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, and it sounds like you'll be working from home a little bit, which is awesome as well.
Yes, definitely. I'm loving it actually. Although maybe eating a bit too many snacks. It's a
Yeah,
little bit hard when your kitchen's right there.
kitchen is always calling. Cool. Thanks, Laura.
All good.